Hey, it's Neil Ronahan with Nintendo World Report TV, and this is a Smash Brothers preview episode because myself and Jared Rosenberg, who is also here,
Hello.
we got to play Super Smash Bros. Ultimate at a recent New York City press event. We got to see a whole lot of World of Light. We got to play Classic Mode. We got to see the Spirits part that's not a part of World of Light, but is similar to it. And we also got to play a healthy dose of multiplayer. Also joining us is our new staff member and Smash superfan, Matthew Zawodniak.
Hey, that's me. Hi.
Hi. So Matt, you really like the Smash Brothers. What out of this event were you most interested to hear our feedback on?
So I am actually really interested in hearing more about the spirits, because I think that that was the thing in the recent direct that got me the most excited, because of how it was sort of like the event matches in the last game, but also like they're diving into all of these old characters and making like these pseudo battles with them, and is that as creative as it looks? Like, does it feel like these are good representations of these characters?
There were a number of the matches that we came across. I guess first off, they're split up between World of Light and the Spirit Board the Spirit Board like sub mode. So World of Light is that adventure mode that we saw that had the big ridiculous intro video, and then the Spirit Board is just kind of like it was described as like wanted posters where they just kind of show up. They expire after a certain amount of time, and it seems like they repeat a lot too. That's what I noticed. There were some that like it might be a spirit that you already collected, but you can get that and then it'll level up your already owned spirit, which I mean, like so there seems to be a limit to these event matches, but I can tell you that there were just a number of them that we came across that made me completely giddy, like seeing Tronbon show up in World of Light, and that one was a match against Wendy Koopa with a bunch of little Robs representing the serve bots for Mega Man Legends. There was another one that had Salsa the monkey from Mother 3, which I guess if you haven't played Mother 3, you have no idea what I'm talking about. But that was a spirit, the sprite of that character from Mother 3, and that battle was you fought Diddy Kong and Wario. Wario basically representing Facade, who was with Salsa in Mother 3. That was really cool to see, and there's just a whole lot of potential with all those matches, and they do such a good job of representing franchises that don't have playable characters through the playable roster.
And you said that some of them repeated, so you can do ones that you've already played, because I was worried that some of them, like, you'd see them once and then you'd never get to see that character's battle again.
So I can't like 100% confirm that, but it seems like that's the case. Like, I think you might be able to look at some of our footage of the Spirit Board mode, which is, hey, it's on this channel. Go check it out. You might be seeing it in this video right now. But that might have some of them where it's kind of like I remember seeing something that said like, oh, repeat. Like I think like a Baby Mario Spirit might have had that, but I don't know if we have that footage or not. But it does seem like they do repeat. I'm curious to know how many of these different matches are out there, and if the ones that are in the World of Light mode, which are on the world map, if those do repeat in the Spirit Board mode. Now, Jared, what did you think of the Spirit matches? They're basically event matches.
Yeah, I think it's a really creative way of, in like Smash 4, they had the similar kind of thing, but I feel like they were fun in Smash 4, but I feel like this makes them so much more interesting, and then it lets you bring in so many characters that could not have been in Smash Brothers. Like like you said, Tronbon is so cool to show up. Like, who expects someone from Mega Man Legends to show up, and Tronbon's own game? And then same thing, like I know one of the fights you have is against Woodman, and it's like you're getting the individual Mega Man bosses. Like, it's just really cool that stuff's in there.
Yeah, and all the kind of tweaks to the matches as well is like, yeah, with that Woodman one, what that is you're fighting Mega Man, but he keeps on using the Woodman ability that he has. And some of the parameters for these matches are pretty like novel and inventive. Like I can't express knowing that much specifically about Street Fighter characters, but there was one match that gave Jared and I a lot of hell when we were playing this. It was a match against Bayonetta in World of Light that you got Jury from Street Fighter V, but I would assume that all the parameters for that, which I think they were like high defense and like reduced jump power or something, probably reflect that character in Street Fighter.
Totally. And like, even it still works, like even if the background's not Street Fighter and the person you're fighting's not from Street Fighter, but like I think they had the Vegeta stage music. Is that,
or the Vega,
yeah.
the
I'm
Vega
sorry,
stage, which is by Yoko Shimomura. That song is up on the Smash Brothers website. I remember hearing that and then looking over the footage, because in the event I couldn't really hear the song, so I'm glad we got to record it to look at it later. I believe that footage is in our footage. Once again, you might be watching it right now. But yeah, with that Bayonetta stage, I believe it's on New Pork City, but Final Destination, which kind of works as being a Street Fighter background, because it has like, there's Street Fighter fights where the background's just like, oh, you're in the middle of a town, and like I saw that, I'm like, oh no, that works, that makes sense.
Does that also kind of make sense for in the Salsa Spirit fight? I've never played Mother 3, so I wouldn't know, but it was on the Gerudo Valley stage from Ocarina of Time, which is like the sort of desert canyon.
Yes.
Does that make sense for that?
Yeah. Yes, it does. Because it's been a while since I played Mother 3. I remember Salsa because how could you forget a cute monkey in a video game? But like there's a desert area in that, and like Facade is, I mean, the name kind of gives it away that he does have like a kind of Arabian influence. He's a mad gypsy. Go play the fan translation, everybody. Who knows if that's ever coming over. But yeah, the spirits are really cool. I want to live in that mode. And really what most impressed me about World of Light and the Spirit Board is that it's the single player mode that I've wanted to see in a Smash Brothers game that works for Smash Brothers. Because like I think the side scrolling stuff like Subspace Emissary and even the adventure mode in Melee, like those were cool and novel, and I lovingly played those games when they came out, but I don't think they really represented Smash Brothers in the best way possible, because Smash Brothers isn't about platforming. And I think we probably all collectively learned that the hard way, because Subspace kind of got rough when they're like, oh, do platforming, and you're like, oh, this level design kind of looks like some of Sakurai's lesser Kirby works. But what World of Light does is that it focuses it all on the combat and the video game history. And those are the two parts of Smash Brothers that I think I like the most, is actually playing the game in battles and all of the video game history. And that's what the World of Light mode does on a grand scale, and it's what the Spirit Board part of it does on a smaller scale. So like if you want to sit down in front of your TV and go and play some Smash Brothers single player for like 2 hours, World of Light's perfect. If you're on lunch break and you're like, oh, I want to sit down and play some games of Smash by myself, then Spirit Board is perfect, because you can go in there and it's just going to auto-populate it with different event matches, and you can just bounce between them. And that's like, I had to kind of pull myself away from the Spirit Board demo when we were at the event, because I just like would keep on being like, oh, there's Salsa, there's Baby Mario, and look over there, that's another character that I love too. Yeah, I really like the single player stuff in this game, and I think it's going to be a part of the game that I spend a whole lot of time in.
While we're on the topic of World of Light, I know even though during the direct at the beginning of the month, Sakurai said that it wouldn't be focused on story like the Subspace Emissary was, but no one's really been sure if that means like it's going to be totally devoid of story. When in your time playing, did you feel like there was any story really being told, or was the opening cutscene just kind of like a one-off thing to set the stage?
I think go on, Jared.
Well, no, I was just gonna say, Neil, back me up if you can, or I guess you'll agree or not, but I don't remember there being much story, or like basically no story. Like there's the basic story of like you're you're exploring the world map and like, oh, you're in like the Mario Kart area, or like you're in the F-Zero area, and like now you're rescuing this person, but like it's not, there's no cutscenes, there's no like on-screen text really telling you that. If anything, that, you know, again, this is a complete guess, but I would assume there'll be like some kind of end game cutscene, but maybe that's it.
Yeah, like I feel like there will be cutscenes in this mode, but what we saw was probably, I would say, the first half an hour or so of the game, and we unlocked 3 fighters. So the way it worked, I guess just to break it down, is that you know, everybody except for Kirby's dead, in the worst Thanos finger snap of all time. Or the best, depending on how you look at it. Kirby goes through a couple matches in a straight line, and then at the end of that, you fight Mario. You unlock Mario as a playable character. That's just all linear. And then after you beat Mario, I think there's like another match, and then there are 3 forks in the road. One direction is fighting Marth to unlock him as a playable character. One is Sheik. One is Villager. We went with Villager. Beating Villager, then Villager joined our merry gang, and then we went to an area that was inspired by Mario Kart and F-Zero, and at the end of that section, which had a couple branching paths, but it all funneled into the same area, we fought Captain Falcon, unlocked Captain Falcon, and then our demo ended. And that was about a half an hour, 40 minutes of game time. No story at all. In that it was, we had that opening and we just went into it. There was nary text at all to set the stage of like, now Mario, you need to free him. Like, no, like, you know, that there's no real context to it outside of that opening cutscene. I do feel like we will see cutscenes. I'm curious to see how that mode develops, because I can't imagine you're unlocking 75 characters to beat that mode, because that would take a very long time unless they start throwing them out like candy. I feel like it might be a mode that you play through it once and maybe unlock like 25, 30, and then they encourage you to play it again. That's just based on guesses. That's nothing firm.
Mm-hmm. Okay. If one other thing that I'm really curious about, I feel like I'm most interested in the single player stuff you guys got to do, because all the events that we've seen so far publicly are all just endless multiplayer matches. You guys also got to play the classic mode, and we haven't really seen a ton of that outside of the directs. And you actually saw a whole new mini game in the classic mode, right?
Yeah, it's basically like a race to the finish kind of thing, where there is a portal on the left side of the screen that is encroaching on you, and you have to run through this kind of platforming challenge. I guess that's the only platforming challenge that I've seen in the game so far. You run through that, and you can collect stuff to like increase your score in classic mode and get some loot. And you can pretty easily fail in it, and if you fail it, then you just move on. And I think it's always the second to last stage in classic mode. There's 7 matches for every classic mode run. And each one is tailored to every single character. So at the event that we went to, we had the option of playing Duck Hunt, Mario, Captain Falcon, Rob, or Wolf. We played Wolf and Duck Hunt. We have some footage of that you are likely seeing right now, or can see on the channel. Duck Hunt, at the end of that, and all of his were fights against animals. At the end of that, you fought Rathalos from Monster Hunter as the final boss of classic mode. I did not play it, but I know with Mario, you fight Giga Bowser at the end of it. With Wolf, you fought all the characters that you fight along the way are ones that skipped the last Smash Brothers game. So you're like fighting Snake, Young Link, Ice Climbers. Like, those are all the people that you fight along the way. And then at the end of that, you fight Gallium. I don't know if I'm saying that right. A mech who was in Subspace Emissary, who, now that I'm thinking about it, also fits the theme of Wolf, of characters who missed a game because he was not in Smash Brothers Wii U and 3DS. Rob also fought the same mech boss. I didn't see anyone play Captain Falcon, so I sincerely don't know what Captain Falcon's is. By the time you're hearing this, we might know who Captain Falcon fights at the end. because
I heard some people at the event saying they thought if Captain Falcon actually like drove his F-Zero machine away, like they would have picked him, but like he couldn't even like get his engine started. Yeah.
Classic mode is what it is. Like outside of that new mini game, there's not really a lot of secrets that I could tell in it. Although it has the intensity meter that was introduced in Kid Icarus Uprising and then was in Smash Brothers Wii U and 3DS. And I feel like if you were to max that out, maybe you get some bonus stuff. But we didn't see that and don't know what that could be.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But again, I still love that like that meter from Kid Icarus is like still in the game. Like it's just such a smart system.
Yeah.
And so to not leave out multiplayer entirely, from the matches that you guys did get to play, what were the impressions of the characters that you got? Like, how did the new characters feel? How, did you notice any changes with the older characters, stuff like that?
I have two characters that stood out to me a lot. One I would consider, well, I guess one is, I'll start with the boring one, which is the character that has been in the series since Melee, Mr. Game & Watch. I would say that probably in Brawl, Game & Watch was my main. I didn't really have a main in Wii U and 3DS because I just kind of played random. Like, it was just where I was in my life right then. I didn't play it as seriously, so I just kind of fooled around. But Game & Watch, they made him real good in the new one because... he still controls very similar to how he has in the past, and I really like that. Like, he's still got that weird, like, back turtle air thing, which is awesome. But the thing that stood out to me with him is he now has a forward air attack where he just drops a bomb. And in some of the footage that you see, you can see me play as Game & Watch on the Dracula's Castle stage, and I just wreck fools, and... I really like playing Game & Watch, and I look forward to playing as him a lot more when the game comes out. The other character is Isabelle. Isabelle is very similar to Villager, but Isabelle seems like a different tweak of a troll character on Villager, because you have the side B where you throw out the fishing rod and then can pick up an enemy, bring it back, and throw it away. You also have the down B where you can plant a gyroid landmine that just goes up in the air if someone walks over it. And yeah, like, I like playing Villager a lot as a troll character, and Isabelle seems to fit that mold really well, and in a way like how like Fox and Falco are similar but different. Although I would say Isabelle is a lot more different than Villager in the grand scheme of things. Jared, how about you?
The only classic character I really played as, or I guess I played a couple, but the only one that has like a really big new move is Link, which I know people are familiar with that already with his bombs, you being able to remotely detonate them. But I think it's a nice new mechanic for him. And then as far as the new characters, I feel like both King K. Rool and then the Simon Richter combo, I think they are great new characters that I'm going to be using a lot. Just the like Simon Richter, I think it's very similar to Mega Man, like that all his moves are sort of like inspired by the power-ups you find in the fact that holy water, and that like you can throw the spinning axes, and
the arcing stuff. Like I don't have as good of a feel for Simon and Richter, but I definitely want to play more of them. Like, because I like the references with those characters. They're very smartly made from a
totally, and just like the small details like that you can use the whip to like grab onto the ledge when you're falling. Like, that's just really cool.
Yeah, I like that a whole lot. Another character that I didn't really have a handle on from the new lineup. Actually, K. Rool kind of fits that as well. But I'll just briefly touch on Incineroar, who I really like how he is, where he's doing these wrestling moves. I actually, after I saw the Smash Brothers Direct before we went to this event, and then I kind of rewatched the Incineroar stuff after the event, and I did not really get a handle for the specific timing of his different moves that were talked about there. Where like when you do, it's one of his specials is like he like the whatchamacallit, the outside of the wrestling ring appears and you throw an enemy against it, and depending on your timing you do a different move, which I just didn't really have a good handle on, because I mean, when we're playing these multiplayer matches, we're playing with other people at the event, so it's not like we have the time to be like, all right, I'm gonna sit down and learn this exact move. Like, usually you kind of have to go in and get with it. K. Rool was another one like that like, I like K. Rool a lot, I want to mess around with him, but I don't have a totally good handle after playing a couple matches with him in that. Although, like, I mean, I like throwing his crown. His up B, where he has the propeller, is ridiculous. It's such a good recovery, and he hits really hard. And I like that.
Totally.
He reminds me of DDD, but I think I might wind up liking him more than DDD. Although I still think I did not play DDD in Ultimate, but I liked the improvements that were made to him in Wii U and 3DS. So I should check out DDD when the game comes out, because I like playing as him.
Oh no, I was just quickly saying, like, Inkling had been at E3, but I still think Inkling's a really fun character, and probably will play a lot of Inkling when it comes out.
Yeah, and Ridley's like, I mean, Ridley, once again, a character playable at E3, but this was the first time I got to play Ridley. Just like kind of grapple heavy. Like Ridley's, once again, like I think my takeaway from all the newcomers in this game is that they're all really fresh and cool. Like, I would say Isabelle is probably the only one that's not like a bold new character that has all of this depth. But I still, like, I want to play this game more. That's my takeaway from the event. We could have just had a video of me being like, can't wait for Smash Brothers, and that would have covered it.
So kind of hand in hand with characters as far as playing the game goes, there's also the stages. I know, unfortunately, there are only 4 new stages in the game, and I believe you guys only got to play on one of them, the Castlevania stage.
I mean, not every match that we played got recorded. I have played on the Inkling stage and the Zelda and the new Breath of the Wild stage. Like, they're cool. I do really like the look of Dracula's castle.
Dracula's castle, I think, I'm most interested in that one because it's a brand new franchise being brought to Smash, like even from another company that kind of, by all rights, maybe should have been in Smash a good long while ago. I got into Castlevania very recently, actually, because of Simon and Richter being introduced. I don't know if you guys have played Castlevania, but did it really feel like it captured like the aesthetic and the overall feel of Castlevania playing on that stage?
I think if I have enjoyed a Castlevania that mimicked the aesthetic of Smash Brothers at all, maybe I would see it more. But my affection for Castlevania is like with the DS and Game Boy Advance games and like Symphony of the Night and stuff earlier than that, like, you know, Rondo, Castlevania 4, the NES games. So no, this didn't really represent that totally, although like the stairs off the side of the stage are a nice touch because stairs are a big part of those old Castlevania games. But like the music is really good, and I look forward to hearing a lot of Castlevania music because it seems like they, unlike Square, which seems like they basically have a ham sandwich of a soundtrack addition to this game, Konami opened up the doors and let Nintendo or let Sakurai and company have fun with Castlevania music.
I'm looking at our footage right now of the Dracula stage. Is the place you fight at supposed to be sort of like the area at the very start of Symphony of the Night and then the very end of Rondo of Blood where you fight Dracula? Yeah.
I mean, if it's Dracula's castle, then yeah.
I think to me it looks most specifically actually the final boss arena from the first Castlevania. I think it's pretty one-to-one, including the stairs that you walk up from the outside that go indoors. That's pretty, you know, Castlevania 1,
sure,
in my memory at least.
So yeah, throw away what I said about it now. I mean, for me, it's just the graphical aesthetic of Smash Brothers, like, doesn't evoke those Castlevania feelings with me. But like, I don't have enough Castlevania background to like be able to look at that with a fine-tooth comb right now and be like, oh, they got this chandelier right. I would expect nothing but loving adoration for the past from that Dracula's Castle stage from the developers behind this game.
And from what I could tell, it looked like you guys were playing with hazards off, so you didn't get to see any of like the classic Castlevania monsters in there.
No, yeah, I think that might have been a match that we played it with hazards off, because yeah, when we played a mix of everything with items and items off. When we did get on one system, there were 2 people that were there already that were playing with items off, and it was actually kind of nice to have that, to like focus more on how these characters handle as opposed to the chaos that happens, which is something that I didn't expect to say, because I'm very much a pro items guy in Smash Brothers, but in the context of trying to learn a game, it was maybe kind of helpful to play with items off. I do want to kind of, as we kind of close up with this, Jared and I got to play Nairo, professional Smash player at this event. And I will say, I got my butt kicked, but Jared held his own, while a top tier Smash Brothers player, probably messing around with a new game he hasn't played that much. Jared held his own with his young Link. And I have seen Jared's young Link do great things over the years. So it was cool to see. Cool to see Jared be competent against someone who's really good at Smash.
It was fun, and I can't remember the specifics, but I feel like a couple of things went my way to help make that happen. But
yeah, because we were still like, I think items were on for those, and we were playing with 4 people. So I mean, with that, like, sometimes chaos can happen. When I have played Smash Brothers where I'm playing in like free for all with people who I know are a lot better than me, sometimes I will turtle a little bit and wait for them to be lower on lives and then join the fray. Because I like to win, and when I'm in that situation, I'm not gonna win unless I turtle. But it was cool to play the game a lot, and we didn't really have any restrictions, and we could see all the different levels. Matt, any final questions that you're wondering before we wrap this up?
I think you guys covered most of it. I'm really excited to be able to play this game in just a couple weeks. I'm jealous that you guys got to play it. The best that I've gotten to do is that holiday demo that I had to drive an hour out for, just for the TV to have input lag that made it almost unplayable. So I'm extremely jealous that you guys got to play it so much and in such a good environment. I'm very jealous you got to play Nairo. And the game sounds incredible, honestly.
Yeah, like I can't wait for it. I have a newborn son, so the multiplayer late nights might not happen as much, but I will assuredly be playing a lot of World of Light and that Spirit Board mode and get whatever online and local multiplayer matches I can get in. I can't wait to play this game. Jared, how about you?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. I think having the Spirit mode, so I would say I play the majority of my Switch on the go, like 90%. So for a game like Smash, where like multiplayer is so important, that makes of course I'll probably play it just multiplayer just because it's awesome that way. But just because I play so much single player, it's like I want a good single player Smash, and I think after seeing Spirit mode in person, it's like I feel better about. There's going to be something to play single player, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm really happy about that.
Yep.
Oh, one.
All right. Well.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go for
one
it, Jared.
Quick thing, just since we're talking about the stages, I went and I was looking. Like, we did play the new Donk City stage as well, and like I'm gonna be negative here and be like, I don't think that stage is that exciting.
Yeah. No, I'll agree with you. Like, I'm sure if we're hearing the music in that stage, it's probably a lot better, because the nature of an event where there's a bunch of TVs nearby all playing the same game, like, you can't really like relish hearing the sound. But yeah, that new Donk City stage is just kind of like, it reminds me of the Mario Sunshine stage. I forget the name of it.
Delfino Plaza.
Yeah, Delfino Plaza. It reminds me a lot of that, where like you have a platform and there's kind of a cycle and you're moving through it. And like, it's cute, but yeah, it's there. And while we're on the subject of stages, just trying to delay this as long as possible from ending, because I just want to talk about Smash Brothers for the rest of my life. I do like how you can just, press of a button, any stage can be Battlefield or Final D. Like that's a nice touch. Every stage can be an 8-player stage. Like that kind of stuff just makes it, all inclusive and more fun, even if like some of those 8-player stages might be utter nonsense.
I think the Battlefield form was one of the most exciting things that I saw. I tend to be more of the competitive tournament style player, but I don't like Final Destination at all. So being able to play any stage in the Battlefield form is really, really exciting.
Yeah. All right, well, that'll do us for our Super Smash Bros. Ultimate preview. You can go ahead and check out all our other footage and videos, and we're going to have all sorts of other stuff Matt put together looking at the songs that we saw in our playtime. I'm going to have some stuff about some of the specific spirits. Disaster Day of Crisis is referenced in this game. That's incredible. It does exist. And we're going to have a whole lot more Smash Brothers stuff here, and, we cover all of Nintendo. We have a Patreon, Nintendo World Report, or we have a Patreon, patreon.com/NWR, if you want to help support us that way. It helps keep the lights on. And, yeah, for all other sorts of Smash Brothers content, be sure to check us out. We'll be covering it before it comes out and after it comes out and all that time in between. So, like, the hour when it just comes out, we'll also cover it then. Thank you very much for joining me, Matt and Jared, and thank you for watching. If you got this far, that means you watched a lot of it. Thanks. Talk to you later. Bye.